Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Doug.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is your first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world.
Woo.
Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
Where are your audio uncles? And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields,
we're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get the one that we know of, so you'd better make the most of it.
Toodaloo! Uncle Doug.
Uncle Dan.
Last week,
Yeah.
you and Uncle Mark did a show without me.
We did.
I'm so mad.
We proved it could be done.
I am so mad.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Right.
Actually, it was my fault. I left you.
You did. You went on a grand vacation.
I went on an adventure.
Yeah.
I went to Spain.
España.
Viva España! And it was lovely, and it was great. And
you look rested and well. And
do I? Because I'm totally jet lagged. I just literally I got back in at midnight yesterday after being awake for 24 hours.
yeah,
so.
it's a rough flight back from Spain. I don't know what it is. You're going against the time zone,
Right?
And it's a tough one.
To me, the getting back into the swing of things is easier coming back than it is going out there.
I'm the opposite.
Because going out there, I just get wrecked. And coming back after one night's sleep, I'm usually back into the swing
I'm
of
the
things.
complete opposite.
That's interesting. Anyway.
Anywho, you're back.
I'm back, but we are now down a man still.
Uncle Mark is ghastly, deathly sick.
He's dying.
Pray,
ladies and listeners,
thoughts and prayers.
Pray for Uncle Mark, who is sick and alone in Canada.
In the cold north. Yeah, I really feel for him.
Sad and desperate.
The only consistent thing on this show is me.
No, that's just not the case at all. At least not. It has been for a long time.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anywho. Lately, yeah.
But we can do it without him.
We can do it without him, and we intend to.
Yes.
We will sally forth. First, I am going to let Spain be my inspiration and talk about a saint.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take on the first half of the beginning of time.
You are. You are indeed. We're going to do some Bible-y stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to do Genesis.
Oh, God. Buckle up, kids. We're in for a bumpy ride. Let's do it.
Let's do a show. Well, Uncle Dan.
Hey.
Since Uncle Mark is not with us.
I know. What a bum.
We're robbed of our usual effervescent banter.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're robbed of his whatever banter.
He doesn't do much on this show.
You and I, can still effervesce with great aplomb.
Who was the drummer before Ringo Starr?
Pete Best.
Pete Best. He's the Pete Best of the podcast.
Yeah, he is. And he's not here to defend himself, so that's going to just stay.
So anyway,
here's the thing. As you know, I've been a traveler.
You've been abroad.
And a man, so there you go. And I was in beautiful Spain.
It's a beautiful country.
There's a lot to be said for that place. I've always been in love with Spain. I love the history of it. I may have to cover, I don't know, maybe next week I'll cover just sort of the history, the religious history of Spain, because that whole Iberian Peninsula has been through some stuff.
You'll knock that off next week.
Yeah,
the entire history of Spain.
It doesn't take that long. Duh. All you have to do is go to the Alhambra once, and you're like, I love that I said Alhambra.
Yeah, that was
I've never
nice.
said that before. It's Alhambra, or if you're Spanish, Alhambra.
That's right.
Or
if you're Spanish, Alhambra.
the TH thing.
Did it get you?
The lisp thing is really interesting because they don't lisp all of the S sounds.
They do C's and Z's. They don't do S's.
Right. So they'll say gracias.
Yeah.
And it's a hard
Gracias.
S at the end, but it's a TH sound, and that's so weird.
It takes a little while to get used to, and I speak Spanish, but I speak very American or Mexican New World Spanish.
Right.
So the C's and Z's were never something I'd ever attempted.
No. If you had been in Argentina instead of Honduras, you would.
Well, they don't do the C's and Z's.
They do a different thing.
They do the double L's as a J. So
yeah, but I think there are Argentinian I could be wrong on that, but I thought that there was an Argentine dialect where they did this.
I'm going to go on the record right now and say, well, they also use vos in Argentina, which is an alternate familiar form of two. but I'm going to go on record and say the Argentines speak the most beautiful Spanish in the world.
Oh, interesting.
I really believe that. And,
that's cool.
And they also believe it.
Yes, yeah, they're convinced of it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting sidelined, but I like it. I had a friend who he's Portuguese.
Yeah.
And he speaks, well, he's actually British, but his family is Portuguese, and he speaks Portuguese. And he was talking about how Brazil has the most beautiful Portuguese on the planet. And he says he thinks it's because of the slave trade and the African influence on the language.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
One of the places that I went while I was away was Barcelona.
Yes.
The beautiful cultural town of Barcelona, where your Spanish is worth less.
Yes.
Because it's Catalan there, and that's confusing as shit.
Exactly.
I speak some Spanish, enough to get by, except in Barcelona.
Right.
Fortunately, everybody speaks English there, so it's okay. Anyway, it's one of my favorite cities in the world. It's one of the great cosmopolitan cities with a hugely diverse population and a thriving and completely unique culture. Mm-hmm. Unlike the rest of Spain, which is actually not that diverse. But Barcelona, totally cosmopolitan. It is a city of arts and very much of architecture. If you have not been there, or if you don't know anything about that, if you don't know anything about like the works of that crazy motherfucker Gaudí, buckle up and dig into that, because that is some fun stuff.
Yeah, Google, if you have not done this before, Google Sagrada Familia and have your mind thoroughly blown.
And every time I go to Barcelona, by the way, Sagrada Familia is different.
Right? They keep adding to it.
Right. So they're trying to be done, I think, by 2022, because that's the 100-year anniversary of Gaudí's death.
They won't be.
They might be. They're working hard.
I don't know.
But it's going to look totally different. They're building, you know how high those spires are?
Yes.
Those are going to be dwarfed.
I know.
By the giant big spires that are putting in.
And they're going to be done by 2022?
That's what they say.
All right.
I mean, we build stuff here that's like, 40 stories in like 2 years. So there's no reason why they can't do it. They're just slow about it. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Anyway, go to Barcelona and see for yourself.
Indeed.
But, Gaudí is an interesting case study for Barcelona, because his work is so wild and off-kilter from anything else that you've ever seen, and yet the people there didn't reject it. They were just like, they just owned that shit. They were like, okay, cool, this is what we're all about. Let that genius freak flag fly. So that's what Barcelona is.
Yeah.
But that's not always how Barcelona was, because it is a city that has some history. Indeed. And I mean, it goes back a ways. It goes all the way. Apparently, they found evidence of people living there dating back to before 5000 BCE.
Wow.
So, it's been around for a minute. But it really got going as a town right around the time Jesus was theoretically walking around in the Middle East. The Romans built it up as a castrum, which is a fortified military camp. They built a wall around it and everything, which the Romans were wont to do.
Right.
And then every couple hundred years, it was conquered by a different group. The Visigoths, then Charlemagne, then the Moors under Almanzor. That killed almost everybody. Then they were part of Aragon, and then finally they merged with Hispania under Ferdinand and Isabella. So, a lot of history there. But let's get back to that Roman period, because there are still some remnants of that era, both physical and sort of in the collective zeitgeist of the city. One place where all those elements collide is in the lovely cathedral that is the heart of the city's Gothic district. It's a gorgeous example of Catalan Gothic architecture, although the sort of plainness of the old Catalan churches wasn't as cool as the French and German Gothic stuff, so those cheating motherfuckers went and added a neo-Gothic facade at the end of the 19th and early 20th century, which is what looks so stunning right now. So I was shocked to learn that.
You were pretty pissed off about
I was like, what? That is that shit's new? Anyway.
Newish. It's 117 years old.
Yes, indeed. It's new. It's newish.
Yeah.
By comparison to like other Gothic architecture,
Right.
It's entirely new. Anyway, but it's still a gorgeous cathedral. It's formerly titled the Catedral Basilica Metropolitana de Barcelona, or simply just the Barcelona Cathedral, but it's also known as the Cathedral of the Holy Cross and Saint Eulalia, or Eulalia, or however you want to say it.
How do you spell it?
Eulalia.
Eulalia.
Yeah, Eulalie.
Eulalie. Sure, why not?
Anyway, the cathedral has some really cool features, not the least of which being an elevator that will take you to a pretty awesome view from the roof.
Oh.
Pretty sure that's not proper Gothic either.
No.
But I'm not 100% on that. Anyway, another one is that it contains part of the original Roman wall that it was sort of built onto. But one really weird thing is that right at the front of the pews, if you were to attend Mass there, right at the front of the pews, there's a wide staircase that's about the width of all of the pews that descends down into the crypt. So if you were to attend Mass there and you sit in one of the front rows, you can look up and see the priest on the altar, or you can look down and see this. You can see sort of a glimpse of a stone sarcophagus through a bunch of bars. And who is the revered occupant of this holy sepulchre? Well, as one of the cathedral's names would suggest, it's the first of the two patron saints of Barcelona herself, Saint Eulalia.
Right on.
Yeah, so actually, it's probably not her, really.
Right.
But maybe, probably not.
Or just a piece of her.
Or just a piece of somebody.
Right.
One of the problems of Saint Eulalia is that there are two of them. Eulalia of Barcelona and Eulalia of Merida, which is another city in Spain. Or maybe there's just one of them and the stories get passed around and messed up and reattributed and co-opted, and they probably were never true to begin with.
That is going to be the theme of this show.
Right? But here are the stories of Saint Eulalia. You be the judge. Saint Eulalia of Barcelona was a Christian girl, a virgin. So important to mention that she was a virgin.
Of course.
About 13 years old, who lived in Barcelona around 300 CE, so right about the time of Roman Emperor Diocletian, Christianity's favorite villain for a long time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was the guy who was credited with popularizing that delightful entertainment of feeding Christians to lions, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, young Eulalia wouldn't obey the edict that everyone had to renounce all religious professions other than belief in the Roman gods. She, like the little Gen Z teenager that she was, valiantly refused to recant her Christianity just because some cishet old white boomer told her to. She was going to be true to herself, and damn the consequences. And damn the consequences.
I'm assuming it didn't end well for old ukulele.
Nope, no. Unlike the pampered egos of today's teens, okay, I know, I'm a Gen X or whatever, don't at me. Shit got real back in the day. And it got real in 13 specific ways.
Oh my God.
I present to you the tortures of Saint Eulalia. They began with imprisonment in apparently a very tiny prison.
Okay.
Whipping. Then combing, which is the tearing of skin using carding combs, wool carding combs.
Oh, okay.
She was forced to walk barefoot on burning embers. They cut off or burned, depending on who you talk to, her breasts. Rubbed her wounds with rough stones.
Jesus.
Branded her with cast iron. Threw boiling oil on her. And then, because that's not enough, molten lead. Then submerged her in burning lime. Then locked her in a flea box. And since none of this killed her, put her in a barrel full of, depending on who you ask, knives, swords, or broken glass, and rolled her down the street.
Oh, my God.
And then finally crucified her a la Ramsay Bolton on a big giant X.
Wow.
Which you can see images of her crucified onto.
This was
X.
all because she wouldn't give up her God and be a pagan.
Right. So you'd be the judge of whether she may have made a mistake in that. Because suddenly recanting doesn't seem like such a bad idea to me.
She was 13.
Yeah, that's the theory.
Okay. So I get it. 13 plagues for 13 years or some shit like that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Or let's just keep going.
Got him.
I mean, I'm guessing... Look, plenty of people were actually tortured for not recanting their Christianity. So that's totally believable. Is it believable that a 13-year-old survived all of those tortures?
No.
No. Completely unreasonable. P.S. When I say she survived all of those tortures, guess what? She survived all of those tortures.
Oh, even the barrel.
Then, because she survived all of that, in a flourish that can only come from the bullshit that is a hagiography, she was finally decapitated, at which point a dove flew out of her headless neck.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
So there's that.
Jesus.
And that's how you know she's a saint. You know, if a dove flies out of your neck when you're decapitated, I don't even think you have to go through. I think you're just automatically a saint. Aren't you?
The Catholic imagination, 500 CE.
I know.
Is just a painful place to be.
Yeah.
Slightly less painful than the actual world, but fair enough.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So that's Saint Eulalia of Barcelona.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Saint Eulalia of Merida, who was a 13-year-old Christian girl during the time of Diocletian, who refused to recant and was made to suffer horrible tortures, at the end of which a dove flew out of her mouth.
Oh.
Totally different thing.
Completely different.
Oh, and also her body, which is totally legit, is all the way over in Oviedo, which is the whole other side of Spain.
Duh.
So no chance that they're the same story attributed to different parts of the same areas of the world.
Right.
Obviously, different people. So there you go. The really funny and sad postscript to the story of Saint Eulalia is that Barcelona kind of doesn't care about her anymore.
Oh, really?
They kind of left her for somebody else.
Oh, they have a new saint.
There are two patron saints of Barcelona.
Oh.
And apparently what happened was, in Barcelona, there was a plague of locusts one year. And I have no idea when this happened. I could have done more research, I suppose.
All right.
But why? Anyway... there was a plague of locusts. They were eating all their crops. The people were freaked out. So they pray to Eulalia of Barcelona, please stop this. But she was like, busy. So she didn't do it. And then they prayed to the Virgin of Grace, and I'm totally going to nail this Catalan pronunciation because I have zero idea how to say it, Mare de Dieu de la Mercè.
All right.
Yeah, nailed it. Anyway, she, the Virgin of Grace, saved them. So, if you want to see a boring, stupid festival, you can go there at the end of November and see the Festival of St. Eulalia, which is apparently just
It's winding down.
Just whatever. But if you want to have some crazy fucking times, you can go there in September, as I did the last time I went to Barcelona. Completely unaware I was of the Festival of Saint Mercè, or of just Mercè. And holy fucking shit!
Really?
I was walking around blissfully ignorant that there was a festival happening at all, because I had just gotten there. I did no research. I was actually there because I have a friend who has a flat there, and I was just there for a week before I went to another thing in southern France. And I just thought, why not go to Barcelona? I got a free place to stay. So I went there, and I got up the day after I got there, wandered into the Gothic district, and I saw a whole bunch of people all streaming to this one place. So, by the way, if you're a traveler and you see a whole bunch of people streaming to a place, go to the place.
Go to that place.
Always go to the place. So I went to the place, and they were doing that thing of human towers. They were building the human towers.
Yeah.
So cool and terrifying, but amazing. And so I saw that, and then they do this thing called the folk or whatever, and that's like they're spraying, like they've got these fireworks that shoot sparks everywhere, and then pop, a loud pop, and they just spray sparks at you and around you, and they're spinning things that are spinning sparks everywhere, and people are in costumes, and it's a badass fun time.
Who knew?
A little bit crazy. You probably will get hurt. I definitely did, but it's so much fun. Anyway, so Eulalia, the first patron saint of Barcelona, kind of got kicked over for Saint Mercè.
Boy, she can't buy a break, this poor girl.
No. So there you go. There you have it.
All right.
Saint Eulalia of Barcelona, not to be confused with that other one.
No, fuck that other girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares about her?
All right, then.
And with that, let's move on.
Let's move on. Uncle Dan.
Hey.
Well, as you have been gone low these past couple weeks and are in fact the keeper of the patrons.
I am the patron master.
We've given a little bit of break to thanking our dear and lovely patrons, but now we're back.
We are.
And our list is hopefully very, very long.
Yeah, we got a few people to thank. Not as many as I was hoping. I was hoping I'd be so overwhelmed that we would have to devote an entire show to just thanking people.
Right.
But indeed, I'm not that overwhelmed. But I am whelmed. I'm thoroughly whelmed.
Are you like exactly whelmed?
I'm a little over.
Oh, good.
I'm just a little over the whelming.
All right.
So anyway, we have these people are some of the best people in the world, and we
Yes.
should say thank you to them. So thanks to Soma, to Elias, Moore, Jamie. And Jamie, you do a saint.
Oh, my God.
An improvised saint for Jamie.
It's Jamie. Okay, that caught me off guard. Jamie, your saint is Saint Willard
Okay.
of the Twin Cities.
Great.
Saint Willard is the patron saint of bone disease, blackmail,
Ooh.
and summer.
Oh,
The patron saint of summer.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
There you go.
So if you get a bone disease in the summertime,
And somebody wants to blackmail you about it.
then Jamie, you're in good shape. All right. Dr. Terry, thank you so much. Joel, thank you. I have to give a saint. No, I don't. Haha. Naomi, thank you. Brian, thank you. And Nat, I owe a heaven to. But owing to the fact that my brain gets worthless on a plane, I was, I'm afraid, unable to get that heaven going because I was traveling.
We'll get you next week, Nat.
So Nat, we owe you one. You will get it. It's coming next week.
I'm overwhelmed by that list. I truly am.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
very surprised.
Yeah, it's a beautiful list.
And we are an ad-free show, and this is how we pull it off.
It's the only way we can do it.
Yeah.
Without this, we would just have to, I don't know, do something else.
Pay for our own frankincense.
That's right. That's right. So if you'd like to contribute to the Myrrh Fund, you can do so by going to howtoheretic.com, clicking on the button that says give us money.
And if you can't do that, you can always go to places where you can give stars, Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere you can give stars. And it's 5 or die, bitches.
That's right. If you give anything less than 5 stars, you're not helping, you're hurting the world.
That's right.
And with that...
You're the stormtrooper punching Baby Yoda.
Aw. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Hey, Uncle Doug.
Uncle Dan.
You know, we like to cover stories from the Bible from time to time on this here podcast.
We do.
It's a holy book, I would say. I think is correct. It is
share that opinion.
It is believed to be a holy book. It's actually horrific and awful.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the stories that we've told are from that very first book in the Bible.
Yeah.
The one with all the answers. The one that Ken Ham will go to again and again.
Boy.
And that's Genesis.
Given his life over to that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've covered many of the stories in the book of Genesis before. We did the creation of Adam and Eve in episode 65. The possibility of Lilith in episode 56, the two competing creation stories in episode 47, Onan in episode 49, the Tower of Babel in episode 72. And that's just a partial list.
Yeah.
There are so many problematic and troublesome stories in the first book of the Bible, it's worth picking apart piece by piece. But then again, sometimes it's worth it to take it on all at once.
Oh.
And this is the start of a new year.
It is.
It's the start of a new decade.
Yeah. Depending, pedants, do not at us. We understand the
Exactly.
whole thing. Shut up.
Leave us the fuck alone.
It's these are the 20s, baby. We don't get
That's right.
We don't do pedantry in the 20s.
It starts with 2. So it's a time of new beginnings. And since if we don't play our cards right, this might be our last year on Earth, I thought I would take on the book of Genesis as a whole. And like we've talked about many times, Christians don't really actually read the Bible.
No.
They cherry pick. They dip in from time to time and read little bits and pieces.
Right.
But they don't go at it as a narrative and in a critical way.
Yeah, they either read it and ignore most of it.
Right.
Or they don't read it and say they did.
Exactly.
99% of them fall into the second category. If you ask a Christian, have you read the Bible? And they say yes, almost always they're lying.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, and you could take their Bible and thumb through it to the parts that are underlined.
Right.
And you can see where they have and have not read.
Well, and the parts that are underlined are because their pastor told them to.
Exactly. So what's Uncle Doug's first rule of the Bible?
Don't read the Bible.
Shorter is better.
Right.
And if we could excise this book, perhaps over all others, not only would the Bible be 50 eternal chapters shorter, but nearly all of the worst things about the Abrahamic religions, including Abraham himself, would be eradicated from the Bible.
Oh, man. Abraham is a trip.
He's a trip, and he's a major character.
Yeah.
Part of the reason this book seems like such a hodgepodge of weird and often repetitious stories is that this book is a hodgepodge of weird and often repetitious stories. The origins of...
That's a good reason for it to feel like that.
Sometimes it is what it is. The origins of Genesis are far from settled and are the subject of much scholarly dispute. But one thing that all biblical scholars can agree on is that there were more than one and probably several sources, and none of them were Moses.
Right.
One version of why the book was written in the first place, which again is much disputed, as are all things in the Old Testament,
right,
is that after the Persians conquered Babylon in 539 BCE, they were willing to grant the Jews in Jerusalem pretty much full autonomy, but they required that any autonomous territory have a single code of law that everybody agreed upon. That was the way they could rule their territories from afar.
Okay.
So 2 main Jewish groups, those that claimed lineage from Moses and those that claimed lineage all the way back to Abraham, had to compromise on a single story or risk occupation.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why there are so many repetitious pieces in the book of Genesis.
Interesting.
Is it was 2 kind of competing narratives that were similar.
Right.
And they just mushed it together.
They were so somebody was just like, okay, you guys have to choose. You guys have to look. I know that you got different things going on. You got to fix it.
Right.
Just figure it out.
And this is what they came up with. Now, every culture on Earth has its own origin mythology, and almost universally they are as strange and confusing as Genesis. But none of those origin stories play such an outsized role in the modern era. Somehow this origin story of a small tribe of pagan polygamists in the early 2600 years ago still animates Christians in America today and around the world.
Some of it goes as far back as 4,000 to 6,000 years ago.
Yeah, well, the Genesis is not even the oldest book in the Bible. It's not even close. Yeah, several books were written before Genesis.
Why did you just blow my mind?
I blew my own.
But it's a story. But the story is about. It
The
starts
beginnings.
with the very, very
Right,
beginning.
Exactly.
So.
Pen to paper was not first.
Right.
The stories, theoretically. Okay. So the book is broken into 2 very unequal parts.
Did we mention this is the first book of the Bible, right?
Okay. This is the first book of the Bible.
Right.
If anyone who doesn't know that, welcome to the show.
Right.
It's broken into 2 very unequal parts. Part 1, it comprises chapters 1 through 11 and is considered the primeval history.
Okay.
And part 2, which comprises chapters 12 through 50, is considered the ancestral history. So in order
that's when the begats start.
No, there's begats everywhere.
God damn
There's
it.
too many begats. In order to make this a 2-parter with relatively equal parts, I'll cover the primeval history and a big portion of the ancestral history. Otherwise,
The new stuff.
we'd have the non-canon stuff.
Right.
So many of these stories are familiar that I won't spend a huge amount of time in the ones that we've talked about or that everybody knows, except to talk about where they actually diverge from what we were taught in church. I'll focus my time on the stories that we didn't get taught in church for various reasons. I'm going to keep a running tally of the terrible things introduced in this book.
Okay,
That
good.
are still haunting us to this day.
Excellent.
To review at the end. So, here we go.
Okay.
Chapter 1, God creates the heaven and the earth. We've talked about this. But the earth was for some reason formless. I don't quite understand how you can call something created if it is formless.
It's like Jell-O.
But let's not get bogged down here. God then creates light, likes it, and then divides the light from the darkness. How are light and dark connected? Better yet, how are they separated?
Or how do you have light if there's no darkness?
Right.
Like, what does any of this mean?
And what's in between light and darkness?
Right.
Okay, that's day 1. Day 2, God creates the firmament, which I thought was heaven from day 1, but okay. He then divides the water.
No, the firmament is like it's like the lens-shaped arch over the flat earth.
But isn't that the heavens?
No, that's above the firmament.
Okay.
I think the stars are literally like just poked like little things in on this.
Stars won't come around for a couple days.
Oh
though.
yeah. That was later. You decorate after you build the thing.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's day 2. Day 3, God gathers all the waters into one place so land can appear. He then just goes right into creating grasses and herbs and fruit trees and plants. That's day 3.
Did he ever create the waters, or did he just gather them? They just had.
That's a really good point. He never created the waters.
He just gathered. There just were waters.
That's right. That's actually very interesting because he created everything else except water.
And he's like, what do we have here? Oh, there's water. I'll just put some of that on there.
Yeah. Water predates God.
Oh my God.
Day 4, finally God gets around to creating the sun. So there's been light for 3 days and
no source.
No sun. Moon and stars, days and seasons and years. Just remember that in day 2, he basically repeated half of day 1, and then in day 4, he created the universe and time. Seems a bit lopsided.
He wasn't planning.
No, this is not an equal share of work.
He's just like, what am I going to do today? I don't know.
It's like a work week. God created on day 5 whales. That's very specific. Mm-hmm. And then every living creature in the ocean and birds. It's a bit more vague. We get cattle, creeping things, beasts, and cattle again. All land animals are created on day 5. Now we get to day 6, and this is where God says to someone, quote, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." If our world ends in fire and drought, it's possible that this verse could be the culprit. In one verse, we are separated from nature, told we are modeled in the image of God himself, and told that everything else that lives and the earth itself is ours to fuck over.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 verses...
Which is why the last time I saw a bird, I just killed it for no reason.
Just take that, bird.
Fuck you, bird.
2 verses later, God tells the still nameless male and female he has created at the same time to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. That's day 6 and the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 starts with God resting on the 7th day and blessing it, and then, all of a sudden, God decides to create man again. Mm-hmm. But this time, alone and out of dirt. God gives man the breath of life by breathing into his dirt nostrils, which, having once been certified in CPR, I'm pretty sure is not the proper technique. God then makes a garden eastward of Eden, because apparently there are already places on earth to be east of.
Right.
Which we know to be Jackson County, Missouri.
Right. Yes. Fact.
God then plants Adam in the garden to dress it up and keep it. God plants it full of trees for man, including the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and then commands man not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, although he doesn't talk about the tree of life. And then he warns that if he eats it, he'll die. Okay.
That's all. Which turns out to be A, a lie, and B, an obvious dick move.
Right.
Don't put a tree with fruit and then be like, don't eat that one.
Don't eat that. And also, if you don't eat that, this is the end of the story.
Right. Yeah. Then it's just like the people who are talking about it are just Adam and Eve, and that's it.
I wonder how much better we'd be if Adam had not eaten of the tree. Then has Adam, whose name just appears. There's no naming ceremony. Name all the creatures of the earth,
right?
Which seems like a strange ritual. And then God drugs Adam, forcing him to sleep so he can take a rib in order to make a woman.
Yeah,
which again he had already created in the previous chapter.
Right.
God then commands the man must leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife. Thanks to this fucking nugget, we get grown humans 2,600 years later chanting, "Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, dummies."
Right.
So Adam and Eve were now naked, but
although somebody pointed out, I recently saw a thing online that somebody was pointing out that if Eve was created from Adam's rib. We now know how genetics work. That bitch was XY. She was basically a clone. She's a he. It is Adam and Steve.
There you go.
Suck it.
There you go. And we're done as a podcast. We won.
We win.
Okay. Again, I'm retreading ground we've covered, so I'll move. Chapter 3 opens with a talking snake, which is never identified as Satan.
Right.
That tries to convince Eve that if she eats the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, she won't die, but in fact, she'll be like God himself.
And he's 100% correct.
Totally telling the truth. Yeah. He's telling the truth in the story. She's not.
And the Lord is not.
Or he's not. Yeah, God's not.
Yeah, God's the one that's lying, and the fucking snake is the one that's telling the truth.
Absolutely.
Who is never identified as Satan. I can't reiterate that enough.
Yep. Eve succumbs to temptation, eats the fruit, and immediately gives some to her husband, and he eats without hesitation.
Yep.
They now realize they're naked. They make aprons out of fig leaves.
I love that that's the thing. They're like, oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
The knowledge of good and evil apparently revolves entirely around nudity.
Clothing. It's a PG-13 tree.
So stupid.
God is strolling through the garden looking for Adam and Eve and finds them hiding in shame.
As he was wont to do.
Yeah. God is so strange in this book. He is up in the sky. He's just a dude.
He's just half the time he's just a guy. The other half of the time he's like...
He's a djinn. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, so caught red-handed, Adam immediately tosses Eve under the bus, and she tosses the snake under the bus. Pissed, God has a fairly disproportionate reaction to the snake, which again is never called Satan.
Right.
God curses him to crawl on his belly all the days of his life, which is what snakes do.
That's how snakes are.
Right.
Did he have legs before? Probably. We don't know.
Right. To Adam and Eve, he says, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to have to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And because of this, we get over 2 millennia of violence and oppression towards women.
Yeah.
I'm putting that on the pile.
Well, I mean, I think that actually predates this book.
Oh, and I don't want to say that all of this comes directly from this book.
But it's been used to justify it.
Right.
Since those words were written.
Exactly. I'm just saying this book could be better.
Yeah. Literally, violence against women has probably never not been a thing.
Right.
But the excuse that God told me I could has been a thing since this happened.
Utterly and totally sanctioned by the most holy of holies.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
Okay, again, God talks to somebody and says that Adam and Eve have become like us, and so they gots to go. God makes them coats of skin, boots them out of the garden.
By the way, let's be clear. He says us. He's not. He's not using the royal we. He's saying, "Hey, other gods who are like me."
Several times in this book, he says, "Let us." Go
and he
down,
says it several
like
times
us.
throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. This is a polytheistic religion.
Most definitely. Okay, chapter 4 starts with Eve giving birth to Cain and then to another boy, Abel. Abel was a shepherd while Cain became a gardener. Mm-hmm. Eventually, they both brought an offering to God. This is weird because at this point, no rules for offerings have been laid out.
Yeah.
Apparently, God likes mutton and hates quinoa because
He's so mad.
He accepts Abel's offering and rejects Cain's.
Fuck you, Cain.
Cain does what every jealous brother should do and kills and buries his brother.
Right.
Remember, the first person actually born on Earth has now killed the second out of jealousy.
Right.
Off to a great start with the humanity thing, God.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like humanity to me.
Yeah, very much.
Sounds about right.
Since it might be hard to get away with murder when there are only 4 people in the world, God figures out what happened and puts a mark on Cain so that anyone who comes across him won't kill him. Again, there are only 3 people on Earth. How much racial suffering has been caused by this one verse?
Yep.
So God banishes Cain, who goes to the land of Nod and gets married. Again, there are only 3 people on Earth.
To whom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To fucking
I mean,
whom?
now, I've heard apologetics for this. You and I saw some apologetics at the Ark encounter, or maybe it was at the Genesis, the Bible Museum. The Creation Museum.
Yeah, one of the two.
And the apologetic was, well, Adam and Eve could have had more kids, or Abel could have had kids with Eve.
Right.
But there's no way around it. This was incest.
Yes.
There's absolutely no way around the fact.
Take it back to as far towards the beginning as you want. At some point, it was just sisters and brothers fucking.
Or mom.
Or mom and brother, and mom and dad and sister. And
yeah. There's just no... That's all there is.
A little... calm myself down here. So God banishes Cain, who gets married again.
Married.
Cain has a son named Enoch who builds a city named Enoch. This does not seem to be the punishment commensurate with having introduced murder into the world.
Also, since we're on generation 3,
Yeah.
and that's it, we're on generation 3 here, who needs a city?
Right.
Why would you need a city? There's just maybe, let's say that they were just fruitful and multiplying. Maximum, there's, let's say that they're like the Duggars.
Right.
That's 24, 5 people. That's maybe, maximum 3 generations in, you're at a couple hundred.
Let's focus on our hut. Then we can focus on the city.
Yeah.
So most of the rest of chapter 4 are some of the descendants of Cain, including Lamech, who
Cain.
took 2 wives, introducing polygamy.
Yeah.
How much pain and suffering did that verse bring into the world that still exists today? Lamech, by the way, apparently killed someone as well, so nice family.
Yeah.
Chapter 4 ends with Adam and Eve conceiving another son called Seth, and Seth has a son called Enos, and chapter 4.
That rhymes with penis.
Chapter 5 gives us the descendants of Adam and how long they lived. This is that insane chapter about the longevity. So Adam kicked it at the ripe old age of 930. Seth was 912. Enos was 905. Canaan was 910. Mahalaleel was 895. And Jared was 962.
So I guess they could have put the Duggars to shame, really. If you've got several hundred years to live,
But
and are they good breeding years? Is it good? Like,
no mention at all about the fucking uteruses that have to be punished through this process,
right?
Like,
Yeah, exactly. A woman can have children way into her 700s, but beyond that, they go through menopause at about 800, 850, something like that.
Horrible. So Jared lasted 962. His son Enoch, a different Enoch, only lasted 365 years, but was taken by God and didn't die. So yeah.
Hey, that's a cool way to go.
Now we get to Methuselah, who lived to 969.
He's the winner.
He's the oldest man in the Bible. We've seen him at the Creation Museum.
Yeah, he talked to us.
That horrifying animatronic waking old man.
When I was only 500 years old. Shut up. You're scaring me.
And finally, we get to Lamech, who lived 777 years, and Lamech had Noah. So here we go.
Oh, Lamech.
Noah reached...
He was a stand-up comedian, if I recall.
Noah reached 500 years old and had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ends chapter 5. There are no women named in this chapter. Chapter 6 starts with one of the weirder anecdotes in the book. This is that very strange one. Apparently, the daughters of men were quite attractive, if undeserving of names. And so sons of God, which were apparently angels, descended down and took mortal women as wives, and bore them children who became giants and mighty men of renown.
So
okay,
that is angel fucking and giants.
And it's like 2 verses at the beginning of it, otherwise in the middle of a narrative that's broken by chapter.
That's the problem. See, here's the problem with reading this book, is that it is so easy to get lulled into just sort of boring narrative that, or non-narrative that doesn't mean anything to you, that you might miss the 2 verses that say something fucking crazy.
Yeah. Giants,
okay. Which are the result of like demigods.
Yeah.
Fucking mortal
human women. Yeah. So that's in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's some straight like Roman/Greek stuff.
It's totally, and it's 2 verses in a narrative that's already going.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
There's an abrupt turn, and God is looking down at man with disdain because every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And that is before the internet. So God is angry, grieved, and full of regret, that he has created man and immediately decides to kill him, and why not all the animals too?
Yeah.
So toss vengeful, murderous, and a tad overreactive to the list. This is an easy story to get through. There was a man that God could not get enough of. His name was Noah, and his 3 sons, and some broads, apparently. So God shares his plan with Noah and tells him to build a gopher wood ark, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits tall.
Right.
There is some consensus that a cubit is the distance from the elbow to the tips of the fingers.
Right. Whether that's the inside of the elbow or the outside of the elbow, and who are we measuring, arm and all that.
Exactly. Me, for example, the outside distance from my elbow to the tip of my middle finger is about 19 inches.
Okay.
And so
because you're a stud.
Well, this is going to deflate me a little bit. An arc made by my biometrics would be 475 feet long, 79 feet wide, and 47 feet tall. The Ark Encounter was 510 feet long, 85 feet wide, and 51 feet tall. So whoever they're
Who the
using,
fuck's cubit is that?
it's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's or something
Right?
like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. They were going with one of the giants.
So, of course, in this arc, he is commanded to bring 2 of every animal, including the dinosaurs. Chapter 7 starts with God amending his commandment and having Noah bring 2 of every unclean animal and 7 of every clean animal.
Yeah. Put that on your arc. Do this math. Don't do the math. Actually, here's what's great. Ken Ham's group did the math. You can go to their website and they'll explain how it's all possible. I promise. It's all possible. It's not possible.
It's not possible. Chapter 8 starts with... so the rain starts as Noah turns 600 and lasts for 40 days and, wouldn't you know it, 40 nights too. And with that, all the animal life except for what was in his boat was killed off slowly.
Why wasn't it 40 days and 36 nights?
I don't know. That always
happy.
gets me. It's like, okay, yeah.
We know how nights and days work.
You're padding it, dude. Come on. Chapter 8 starts with the ark resting on the rocks of Mount Ararat after 7 months at sea. Mm-hmm. But then verse 6, we're taken back to the 40th day where Noah sent out a raven and then a dove to try and find dry land. I'm not sure how that was supposed to work. Right? Like, why would you come back to the boat? Like, okay.
Go, lassie, find land.
Exactly.
Well, the raven didn't, right?
The raven didn't, nor did the first dove.
He's just sending out
just birds. Go on, God, please. So finally, the second dove returned with an olive branch, signaling the end of the flood. That was over at the beginning of this chapter. Noah is so grateful for the end of the flood that he builds an altar and kills and burns 1 of every clean beast in an act of absolutely deplorable resource management.
1 of the 7.
Yeah.
So now you've got...
That's all you fucking got.
6.
Yeah, now you have 6.
Great. That's enough.
It is the first time in the Bible, though, that God smells the sweet savor of burnt flesh. And let's just say he develops a taste for it.
Yeah.
At the beginning of chapter 9, God again commands a small group of people to replenish the earth and again reiterates that everything on earth is meant for man to do whatever he pleases with. God promises Noah that he won't destroy the earth again with water, no word on fire or disease, and marks this promise with a bow in the clouds. It never actually says rainbow, but I'll allow it.
Okay.
In a very strange turn that we're all familiar with, Noah plants a vineyard and gets drunk and falls down naked. But in his tent. He's not just out there. He's, at least he's in his tent.
Right.
Ham sees this and tells Shem and Japheth, who take a blanket and drag it backwards in order to not see their dad's dong.
Yeah.
Noah finds out and curses Ham because why not?
Because Ham accidentally saw his dong when
It's kind of on Noah.
Dad, you got drunk. This is on you.
Do you think I was looking to see your dong?
Yeah.
By the way, many believe that the curse of Cain came through Ham.
Right.
So we still get to have black people who are less than
Which
human.
is funny because that is just not how this works. But shut up.
But racist got to be racist.
Yeah, exactly. Racist got a race. So
Chapter 9 ends with the death of Noah, who lived 950 very eventful years. Chapter 10 is just as confusing and bizarre a lineage of the sons of Noah and the cities and nations they would go on to found, including such notable names and cities as Gomer, Sabtechech, Nimrod, Naphtahim, Kasluhim, Arphazad, Joktan, and Dikla. All the hits.
Can we do okay, this is a Patreon goal. If we get enough patrons, we're going to do an animated show called Nimrod, and what was one of the other ones? And what was the second one you said?
Naphtahim.
No.
Septekach.
I don't know. There was another one. Anyway, we'll figure it out. It'll be fun. It'll be a buddy comedy.
So mentioned in that list are Sodom and Gomorrah.
Gomer, that was a...
Oh, Gomer, yeah.
Gomer and Nimrod.
Nimrod.
That'll be a good show.
We get a mention of Sodom and Gomorrah and Babel, which is where we pick things up in chapter 11.
Ooh.
Man decides for some reason to build a tower to reach heaven, which pisses off God with an already well-established hair trigger.
And this is like a generation after Noah.
It's a handful of generations after Noah.
But of course, as we know, 2 generations after Noah or 3 generations
There's
after Noah.
Civilizations everywhere.
Now we've got multiple huge civilizations, big cities.
So God's pissed off about this tower, and he confuses the languages of the people who all speak one, so they can't cooperate anymore, and scatters them across the earth.
Right.
Okay. We then dive into another litany of descendants, this time of Shem specifically.
Okay.
Including such notable luminaries as Peleg, Serug, Nahor, and Haran, before finally arriving at Abram and his nephew Lot, and chapter 11.
Skun dun dun.
Yeah. Now, this is supposed to be some notable break in the construction of the book, marking the end of the primeval history and the beginning of the ancestral history.
Okay.
So I guess what that means is we're done with the origin stuff. Now let's settle in with our main characters for a while. Which we do. So here we go. Part 2, the beginning, chapter 12, begins with God telling Abram to get out of Haran and into the land of Canaan. Uninvited visits to Canaan may be the one truly consistent theme of the Bible. So 75-year-old Abram, his nephew Lot, and his wife Sarai, it's Sarai at this point.
Right.
The first woman in the Bible to have a name since Eve, by the way, head off to Canaan in one of the most empty and or heavily caveated promises of all time. God promises to curse those who curse the seed of Abram and to forever guarantee his seed in the land of Canaan. Always read the fine print.
Right.
Yeah. When they get to Canaan, though, there is a terrible famine which forced Abram and crew to head to Egypt. In a very strange turn, Abram instructs Sarai to pretend to be his sister, not his wife, so that the Egyptians won't kill him to get to her. Okay?
Totally. It's a foolproof plan.
Right. Works every time. So weirdly, the Egyptians see Sarai and believe her to be beautiful and take her to Pharaoh himself to marry. What happens next?
The Egyptians.
The Egyptians.
We collectively wish to marry her.
By the way, again, we're only a few generations away from Noah, and there's already another country with a fucking pharaoh.
With a whole different thing.
Yeah, like utterly other group descended from someone else.
And we've talked about this. Like, this, literally like seconds later. And there's like this whole other group. And then,
So what happens next is the first third of the book of Exodus, but in 5 verses. The Pharaoh has something that a prominent Jew wants. He calls plagues down upon the house of Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh releases his captive and sends her with a ton of his own shit. End chapter 12.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, I don't know what the point of this half chapter in Egypt is all about, except to perhaps to explain why Abram was suddenly rich. But he could have just started out rich a couple of chapters ago.
Yeah.
Perhaps it was to introduce the Egyptian pharaohs as the baddies in the narrative going forward. Or perhaps because the book is stupid.
I think I'm guessing that, look, all of this was oral history long before it was written down.
Sure.
I'm guessing they just conflated it. Like, this was the same story, the Moses story. And it got very confused.
Almost certainly.
And then they were like, no, Abram, forget that. We'll just go back.
But see, you could take that Egypt trip and the giants part from a few chapters. You could just take those out and the narrative would lose nothing.
Let me tell you something. If editing was a part of this process at any point, everything would be so much better. But it wasn't, and now we have to just deal with it.
Exactly. Yeah, now we're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Chapter 13 has Abram and Lot parting ways because their households and flocks are so great, they need to live far apart. Right? Abram settles in Canaan and Lot in the plain of Jordan near a town called Sodom.
Yeah, that's not going to work out well.
Nope. The chapter ends with God once again promising all of Canaan to Abram forever. Some restrictions apply. Chapter 14 is weird. Imagine wandering into some basement in 1985 at 1 a.m. to find 6 virginal teenage boys spazzing out in a Mountain Dew-fueled final act of a 3-day Dungeons & Dragons binge. That's chapter 14.
I think that's just your life.
There is some huge, complicated, like, War of 5 Kings going on at the beginning of this chapter out of fucking nowhere. And it ends up getting Lot and his family captured. Abram goes off and rescues him and several other captives, including some of the peoples of the kingdom of Sodom.
Huh.
And we have our first appearance of Melchizedek for our Mormon listeners in the Bible. So there's that.
There you go.
So in a
that's one of the big priesthood guys.
Yeah. In a strange chapter, let me just give you a taste. So this is still in the same chapter 14. Here's verses 5 through 7. And in the 14th year came Shedor-Loamar, and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Astaroth Carneam, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Emims in Shaveh, Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir unto Elparan, which is in the wilderness. And they returned and came to Emnisphat, which is Kada, and smote the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hezemnotamar. Yeah, that's that chapter.
Thanks, Lewis Carroll.
Yeah, you know what this stuff is? Relevant to our world.
Well, here's the other thing. It's no wonder that people can't read the Bible because half the time it just sounds like a bunch of nonsense words.
It's terrible.
'Twas brillig and the slivy toes.
Absolutely.
It's like literally none of this means anything to us except that slid in there is like, oh, and by the way, they killed all of these people.
Yeah, it's true. Like you were saying, you got to focus because somebody's killing his sister.
Right.
And then somebody's slaughtering a village full of children in the middle of like a genealogy.
Yeah, it's just like blah, 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 murder, blah, 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 blah.
So chapter 15 is mostly just a conversation between God and Abram, wherein Abram reminds God that if he's going to have the descendants as numerous as the sands of the sea, not having any children was going to complicate things.
It's harder. It's trickier to do.
God tells Abram not to worry about it, but while I'm in the promising mood, I also promise that your seed will be in captivity for 400 years.
What?
That's just the kind of God I am. Yeah, he's like,
thanks?
yeah, right?
God? Wait, what?
So weird. Yeah. The Canaan will be yours. Your descendants will be as numerous as the sands of the sea. They'll be in captivity for 400 years.
Yeah,
anyway.
Also, they'll be in jail.
Which, again, didn't happen.
That's true.
At the start of chapter 16, Sarai is feeling the pressure of having borne Abram no children, which is, of course, her fault.
Yeah.
So she convinces him to bang their Egyptian handmaid, Hagar.
That's right.
So Abram does, she conceives, and Sarai immediately becomes jealous and has her expelled. I'm sorry, who are the heroes in this story?
Somebody.
God.
Somebody's coming.
Okay, anyway, an angel finds Hagar next to a well and commands her to return to Sarai and submit to her. He then promises Hagar that she will bear a boy, call him Ishmael, and his seed will be a multitude as well.
Call me Ishmael.
That's right.
That's Moby Dick shit right there.
That's Herman Melville.
There you go.
So she returns and bears Ishmael. Now, listeners will know this, but the descendants of Ishmael lead to Muhammad.
Right.
And the descendants of Abraham supposedly lead to Jesus.
This is why you got to get that. You don't want that maid Hagar stuff.
No.
It's just going to be problematic 2,000 years later.
The world would be better if this book didn't exist. Okay.
Okay.
Chapter 7.
I mean, that's verifiably true.
Verifiably true. Perhaps more than any book in the Bible. Anyway, chapter 17.
I thought you meant the book, the Bible. I think the world would be better if that.
Look, man, small victories. I'll take Genesis. Chapter 17 finds Abram turning 99 years old, and for his birthday, God changes his name from Abram to Abraham.
Great.
Because he will be the father of many nations. Makes sense of that for me.
It probably has to do with what the word meant in Old Hebrew, but
I'm sure.
What is that? But yeah,
great.
But the Bibles that we get don't help us with that.
I needed to know that.
Right.
And what else does God give Abraham for his 99th birthday? Why, circumcision, of course.
Oh, my God.
God commands that from now on, men 8 weeks and up, whether related to Abraham or one of his slaves, must have the tip of their dick lopped off as part of the everlasting covenant to God.
Right, because that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
When you think about it, at first you're like, what? I don't get it. But then you think about
Really think about it.
And then you're like, oh, shit, right.
God.
That makes sense.
God's next
Cut off your
commandment.
penis. Why would you leave all of your penis on? That's just bizarre.
As a sign of a promise.
Right.
Okay. God's next commandment is, let's say, unrelated. He changes Sarai's name to Sarah. Mm-hmm. God promises Abraham that she will conceive even though she's in her 90s, and that their son will be named Isaac, and that God will reaffirm his promises and commitments with Isaac. Why is Ishmael looking at us like that?
Yeah, exactly. Here's what's funny to me. I've always thought, I remember the story of Sarah bearing a child at 90.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh my God, the miracle is that, she's this old lady. That's not an old lady. At this point in the Bible,
she's a spring chicken.
Spring chicken. That is a young buck and a spring chicken. They are just two young kids having fun in the world.
It's like Baby Yoda's 50 years old.
Right.
Okay, chapter 17 ends with a giant circumcision party. There ain't no party like a circumcision party because
Also, you gotta give credit to Abraham, who somehow not only he's the crazy guy in town who cuts his own penis off, and then he convinces everybody else to do it. That is a salesman, my friend.
You
do not get a better salesman.
I'm going to be a little less generous and say that there was probably less convincing and more poking with swords.
More forcing?
Right.
I don't know.
All right. Chapter 18 is very strange. It seems as though God appears to Abraham in the form of 3 travelers. Abraham recognizes God and puts out a hasty feast to impress him, which seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
God once again promises Abraham that Sarah will conceive, which elicits a laugh from Sarah that almost costs her life. Okay.
Don't laugh at God.
God and his traveling companions reveal that they are headed to Sodom and Gomorrah to mete out some of that famous Old Testament mercy. This is where Abraham tries to bargain with God to not destroy the city if he can find 10 righteous people, down from his original position of 50. He starts at 50.
Okay.
Says 45, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Look, let's start with 1. No? Okay, I'll come up, you come down.
Exactly.
We'll meet at around 10. How do you feel?
So God agrees. That nothing really comes of this, which is strange. God agrees, and chapter 18. As chapter 19 starts, God is no longer with those 2 traveling companions who turn out to be the angels in the very famous Sodom story.
Okay.
So Lot happens to live in Sodom, and he is the first person to see these 2 travelers and convinces them to enter his house.
Right.
We all kind of know what comes after this. A mob surrounds the house and demands the 2 men come out for raping purposes.
Yes.
Lot, being a moral man, says...
Not for them to rape, but to be raped.
Just to be raped.
Yeah.
General raping. Lot, being a moral man, says, absolutely not. You cannot rape these 2 strangers.
Which is the moral thing to say.
I have 2 virgin daughters.
That's the less moral thing to say.
You can, and it says you can do whatever you want with them. I mean, get nasty.
Yeah.
Again, who are the good guys in this fucking book?
Yeah.
The crowd isn't having it and rushes Lot, at which point the angels strike the crowd with blindness and save Lot. They then tell him to get out of the city, get his sons and his whore daughters, get out of here. Just don't look back while you're escaping, of course.
Which again, makes sense.
Right.
You don't look back, because who would look back when literally the city that they've lived in their whole lives, or at least that these guys moved,
is exploding,
is literally being destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lot's wife looks back and is turned into a pillar of salt. Now, I'm not 100% certain, but I have no other possibility. This is the scripture that Indiana Jones is referring to at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark when he tells Miriam not to open her eyes. Right?
No, because this has nothing to do with the Ark of the Covenant.
But it has to do with fire and brimstone and God's fury and all that.
I don't know.
I could never find out which one. I think it's this one. Anywho.
I think Spielberg might have just made that up.
Sodom and Gomorrah are destroyed with fire and brimstone. Now, out of fucking nowhere, Lot's 2 daughters come to the conclusion that there will be no men in their lives, so they might as well get daddy drunk and fuck him.
Right.
Which they do on successive nights.
Like, they're convinced that the whole world is dead. Every other human is dead. They've got it. The future of humanity rests in them.
Yes. And you know what is the best cure for that hellscape? Pregnancy.
Right. Yeah.
So they fuck him on 2 consecutive nights and both get pregnant. The 2 children eventually would be called Moab and Ben-Ami.
Yeah. They rape their dad.
They raped their dad. So let's end all this with a major twist that nobody saw coming or cared enough to think about. Chapter 20 finds Abraham again traveling with Sarah. As they come to Gerar, no idea, Abraham once again tells Sarah to pretend to be his brother, which she does. Predictably, the king in the land has Sarah brought to him to marry, but then is warned not to by God, who says he will kill him if he does.
Why doesn't God just tell people things?
I don't know. So the king brings Abraham in to demand why he lied about his wife, nearly causing his death. Abraham then reveals that Sarah is indeed not his sister, for she was born of another mother, but of the same father.
Oh! She is his sister!
The whole time they've been half-brother and sister.
Half-sister. Oh my God. That is some Star Wars level reveal right there. I didn't know that. That is some fucked up shit. I love it.
That's a great way to leave it.
Yeah. If Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker had been fucking and having kids.
Right?
That's where we're at.
Or, you know what? They haven't had kids yet. That comes later. Like, maybe not have the kids now.
Yeah, maybe now that you've revealed that. But no, they seem to be cool with it.
So it's hard to describe the profound weirdness, but also the familiarity with this book. Because we know all the stories.
Yeah, we think we do.
But it's badly paced, badly written, inconsistent, repetitive. The characters lack all color and motivation, and mostly it's just fucking ghastly.
Yeah. It's a nightmare.
And if we weren't shed this bullshit as children, would we even give it a second look these days?
Yeah.
When people say they want to raise their children in a religion to help install values, this is what you're talking about.
And keep in mind, people, there are many Christians who won't let their kids watch a PG-13 movie, but will give them this book.
Right.
Are you insane?
Insane. So here's my challenge, and I'll repose it next week at the end of part 2.
Okay.
Can anyone name a single value that comes from this book that is valuable to the world today? I'm going to make it a little bit harder because you can just cherry pick out verses. But so this value must be uncaveated, uncontradicted, and internally consistent. Conversely,
you don't need. I'd be impressed if you could just find a thing that is internally consistent.
Exactly.
In this book.
Conversely, how many things does this book introduce to the world that would be far better not having in it? Here's my partial list. Man is made in God's image. Man is separate from God, or separate from and has dominion over all life on earth and earth itself. Mm-hmm. The concept of original sin and how it's the bitch's fault. Marriage is only for men and women. Women come from and are subservient to men. Black and brown people are descendants of Cain and cursed. Acceptability of polygamy, advocacy of genocide, circumcision, a completed endorsement of slavery, and the acceptability of incest. That's just my partial list from the first half of this book.
Yeah.
So here you go.
It's the holy word of God.
Fuck. Christians read the Bible.
Yeah. Jews too. This is your thing as well.
Sure, have at it.
People of the book. The people of the book should all be ashamed of themselves. Let's move on.
Oof. Well, friends, that's it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email at, that would be howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or leave us a voicemail at 903-88-HOWTO. That's 903-884-6986. Also, Uncle Mark is on Twitter when he's not on death's door.
Yeah. He was retweeted by David Crosby.
I know!
Isn't that amazing? Anyway, hey, thanks to Cody Layton for editing the show.
Thanks to our patrons.
There you go. And thank all of you friends for tuning in.
Bye, friends.